All right, guys, let's keep going. So we've blocked out the back and we've blocked out the front part, the top. So let's go and just block the braids out. So let's go into the braids folder here, get our braids. We have a naked braid and a dressed up braid. So if we alt click this one and go to the move tool, we can actually duplicate it, shift click to bring it down and just bring the braid down. Okay, now you want to rotate it 90 degrees and then rotate it like that. Okay, it's important at this point that you look at references such as these to understand the flow. Okay, and some such as these if you want to put a braid and understand what's going on. So this is the type of thing that I have on my other screen right here while I'm doing this. Okay, so let's go and position this where we think it will look cool and just give it the rotation we want. It's obviously quite big for what we need, and we can shrink it a little bit like so. Okay, then we can go into the bend curve, and with less dots, like 3, we can bring this one over to the spot where we want everything to meet here, where we're going to make a ponytail to come out of it, and then just use the twist here to get the thing going. Now that the thing is in place, we need to bear in mind that we need to control the thickness. Trying to pull this here. Okay, let's add a few more dots and adjust it. Seems right there, but over here it's coming off a bit too much, so let's just drag it in. Let's try and make the start a bit smaller and help with this guy, and maybe pull this up a little bit. And then here we can just bring it down a little bit, and there. And if it goes in like mine, you just pull it out. Not enough. Keep checking both sides so that you're on the ballpark here. You don't want to make it too much. Now that this part is thinner and stretched, we can just help a little bit with this. And go up here to the front and put it closer to the head. Like so. And I think we have it on a cool position right now. Okay, one thing we can do is also increase the points again. And just try and make it even better if we can. With more points, you know, it's easier to just make it thinner there. Again, we're going to be looking at transitions that are going to be doing like that into the braid. And we're going to be looking at these type of clumps that just go into the braid. Okay, this is a different type of braid of the one that I have there. Okay, I'm going to do more like a cornrow. So there's going to have several transition parts, just like this, more or less like this. Okay, this is more like a cornrow braid. This is what I'm trying to get. So pretty good reference right here. While looking at this, I was thinking that this curve here might give me a bit of a trouble. We'll see, because we're going to have to put some hairs that are going to come like from here to do this, and they're going to go over there, right? And then over here as well, we're going to need to make them come like this as well, okay? Because there's a few others that are going to go like so onto the braid, and we're going to have a small gap here in the middle. All right, on the other side as well, so there's going to be some that are going to go in there to pull. There's a gap here that we need to be careful, and then there's some that's just going to go here. That's the whole logic of it, okay? So let's clear that drawing, and let's continue. So, as you can see, this is going into the head there. So just going to pull it out a little bit, give it a bit of height. This is obviously non-destructive. We can come back to this later at any point. And quite happy with this, so I'm just going to duplicate this in mirror so we can get a placeholder on the other side as well. See if it works. It does. It will give us a bit of silhouette there as well. And as we go, if we want, we can always just pull them out a little bit afterwards. For now, I'm just going to leave it in so that it's exactly symmetrical to the other one. And once we agree to the changes we want to do, we're going to go and do that. Okay. Now, it'd be cool if we could get a small braid here on this side. Okay. Now, this is going to be tricky because the braids are one-sided braids. So over here, it's going to float a little bit, but then we're going to have hairs that help into this situation. So let's try and do that with a, could be a naked braid because this is going to be really small. I'm going to duplicate this and shift down, bring it over here, rotate it, not 90, but like something like so, and just shove it in there onto the left. It's going to be really close to the ear, and it's going to be quite small. Something like that. Okay. Let's see. Something like so. We don't want to see the back of it. That's the thing. And for that purpose, we need to actually go onto the bend curve now, reduce the number of dots, and make this part smaller, thinner. And I'm going to help it by just bringing that part a bit up and this one a bit down, so it gets more or less the same type of density on the knots and not a part that is really stretched. Here, I'm going to twist it a little bit. And in here, push it in. And in here, I'm going to twist it to the other side, right? So, okay. Now we bring a few more dots, and in here we can just hold this one and just put this one here, give it a bit of swing. We can make this part a bit smaller. And we can use another point here just to make it bend to that side there. Something like that. Maybe this is too big. It seems like it, doesn't it? And you can never win. I mean, you cannot get all the angles, but there's going to be hairs around here, so we can get away from that situation of showing that back part there. Hopefully, if we can't, then we just give up on it or create another braid. But I'm pretty sure it's going to work out somehow. So, another placeholder, this braid, it's in the spot. We'll see how it turns out, how it plays. If we need to make it smaller, we will at some stage. It'd be cool to actually now get a bit of swing in this as well. So, something like so. Something like that. Great. And we'll take care of the back part when we get there. Is here. A bit more like so. Perfect. All right. So, now, on the back of a braid like this, on the bottom of a braid like this, we would probably get a pin or something, or an elastic, or a piece of rubber or leather that will support the braid. So we're going to just actually create a placeholder here by inserting a cylinder. Going to the move tool and shrinking it proportionally, making it very small and pulling it to the side. And once you're close in, you're going to just make it even smaller, put it there. Just to block out the shape, and then we'll see how detailed we want the prop to be honest. We'll see. Gonna have a bit of a curve there, so we're gonna do that. And that's fine, okay? In the end, once we're starting with the move tool, we're gonna pull this part inwards and make it look pretty. But for now, just leave it as a placeholder there, no problem. Cool. Now, on the bottom of this, we want to have a bit of a tip, okay? And that tip we can generate by just getting these chunks which are not so dense, something like this would do, for example. We can duplicate it, shift down, and in here we're going to delete pretty much everything except that part there. We can delete hidden, so I've unselected it, delete hidden, and then I go back here to this spot, and in here, sorry, my camera snapped there. So in here we're going to go and do a bend curve. On this point here, I'm going to make it like so. Yeah. And on the bottom one, I might, well, I'm going to reduce the points now. And this one, I'm going to just make it like so as well. Okay. It's a bit twisted on some angles, as you can see. So we might have to enlarge it a little bit. Not much. A tad. And once we have that, we can go back to our gizmo. If I solo this out so I can see only this, I'm on the side here. I'm going to control and drag, make a copy. I'm going to invert it, or actually I'm going to make it in like 3 parts. Let's just put that thing over there. I'm going to stretch this one a little bit by putting my gizmo there and stretching it a little bit so it's a bit different. And then, see, that's too much. That will do. All right. And after we do that, we're going to copy it again, rotate it a bit more. We have like a tripart shape kind of thing. And we can make that part smaller or bigger. It's up to you. Just make sure you get something like this. And that will work fine as our placeholder for the end of the braid. For now, we'll see how it turns out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll see. Now, we need to merge these 3. Oh, well, they're actually the same subtool. We don't need to merge them. So let's just bring everything back. Get this fella right over here. So push it in there. Okay. You can obviously have access to the bend curve now again, and we can give it a bit of a twist if we want. Cool. And on the sides as well. Great. Awesome. So now we have the 2 braids here, and the plan, at least my initial plan, was to have a braid which is more or less something like this. Now, this is not something we can just draw with geometry. We need to create these knots, okay? And I mean specifically creating a shape like this and a shape like that goes in between. And once we have that, we'll copy both down. Okay, and we'll just create variations of them. That would be to create a braid like that, okay? It ends on a small thing there with an elastic, that's fine. He obviously has a lot of elastics here as well. So we might use them. The thing is that the hairstyle might get too busy as well. So we might as well just probably do a simpler braid. Let's just think here for a second. All right, so I think I've decided to just make a placeholder braid with this and see how it looks, right? Let's do that. So duplicate that braid over there, bring it forward. Over here, we're going to have a braid that is going to do the following. So bend curve, it's going to start right there on the back where we can't see it. It's going to come a bit from the side. And it's going to come straight forward up to here. Now we increase the points and we make this one go there, this one go here, this one go here, and that one can stay where it is. Now we need to start rotating it here, twisting it, so that the braid looks like it's coming from there. And it's okay. And then we'll just bring this part forward here. And maybe just stretch it a bit more. Now we can make it thicker if we want. Let's just try and increase this a little bit. Here. Increase it. Rotate. Like so. And over here, it goes thinner a little bit. But we can stretch it a tad. We can work this out. Now, if we realize that this braid is really looking cool on the hairstyle and that we want to make a braid like the one we were talking about, we can. It's actually too thick over here, I think. So here it's going to be less thick, like so. Yeah, but we're starting to get a feel of what we have in our hairstyle. It'll be a bit unbalanced because there's this thick braid coming from the back and the thin one from here. But we will adjust it and make sure that everything looks fine and dandy. So for now, this is it. And we're going to start to approach now the cars that transition into these braids here.